isn't it?
Debacle, that was the edit that was...
What?
Debacle, don't
Thank you.
Yeah, I know, but I say
Who
that...
says debacle?
Me, for fun. Come on. That knocks fig rolls so far out the park, it's not even fair to compare them as the same.
I've put one on.
And did it hug your arches?
But then also, a lot of people have said when it washes, when it washes, that it does soften up. I seem to have coordinated clothes today.
Not deliberately. What are you smiling at?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
What?
You just sometimes sound so silly.
Why? The other people should phone me up.
Right.
And they should say, have you put your shorts away? Or maybe it's for people who are forgetful. What's in there?
What's in there? Oh, it's a cuppa.
It's a cup of tea. If I give you vanilla ice cream, you'll just eat it and go, yeah, that's all right.
I do not. I love vanilla ice cream.
Welcome to episode 83.
I was having a cuppa.
We are back. How exciting. And it is officially, I don't care about dates. I'm saying it's autumn.
No, it will be.
Oh, okay.
Because it's the... Yes.
Is it?
Yes. Because it's the 21st, isn't it? It's either the 20th or the 21st is the equinox. I think it's the 21st.
There was some confusion.
But in any
Some people were
case,
saying it was the 21st of October.
It can't be October, it's September, isn't it? But in any case, it's the 22nd today.
There you go.
It is officially autumn.
It is. My proclamation was correctly positioned. Oh, that sounded very English, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. So
You
it
don't
is
often
autumn.
make a proclamation.
No. Well, I'm making one, and I know when it's autumn. In fact, you can predict autumn. In fact, that's what the weather people should do. The weather people should phone me up,
Right.
and they should say,
Dan,
"Have you put your shorts away?" And if I say yes, that's when they should go, right, it's autumn.
You've put your shorts away. Do you know it's going to be 18 degrees this afternoon?
But there's no way. I thought this morning I left one pair out.
Right.
I left my favourite pair of shorts out. And, newsflash on the shorts front, I'm really concerned that another pair is about to go through.
Oh, gosh.
Well, they're not going to go through. The pockets seem to be coming unstitched. So I suppose they could be restitched.
Could they?
Well, could they?
Could
Maybe
they?
not. With the old, because the material's quite old.
Which, is it the pale green ones?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I know that they were always my backup shorts.
Shorts?
They were always my backup shorts. What are shorts?
I don't know.
Neither do I.
Is it like a skort?
Maybe.
That they wear?
Oh, no. Well, it's interesting that you're talking about clothing and things that people wear, because in the last Knitability that we put out, we had a great article called Lord Kitchener and the Chafed Toes.
Yeah.
And Jodie wrote that, didn't she?
Yeah.
And what I loved about that article was it paid homage to history. So it linked knitting directly to history. And do you know what? I'd never done that before. I'd never I know we'd spoken about it on A Favourite Places to Knit once, where we'd spoken about... I think it's actually when we did the first ever Roman one, because we found out, didn't we, that they found a knitted something in the river near there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it was a sock.
It was
I don't
a
know why I
sock,
called it
wasn't
knitted
it?
something. But what she made me think was she started to make me sort of think about history and knitting, and that then it brings me on to the sock that I showed you last episode, which was the bootstrap sock, which has the Balbriggan heel. And I started doing a bit of research on the Balbriggan heel. Now, I touched a little bit on this yesterday in the Dan Lara project with the crew who come and support me in my sock knitting quest. But in between filming that and this, I've had time to do a bit more research. And do you know what? It's actually quite interesting.
Right.
Balbriggan, as you probably know, and I think you know, Kay, don't you? It is a fishing village on the coast of Ireland.
Yes. I knew that.
And they became famous not just for socks, but for clothing in general. Right. Take a look at this fella. Now, Kay, you haven't seen this picture, so I'm going to have to show it to you later. But this is...
Oh, no, I did see a picture.
You did? It's the dandy with the moustache.
Yeah, it's got like golf breeches on or golf...
Well, I think it's underwear. I can't... What do you think? What do you think this chap is selling? It looked very strange. I couldn't work it out. I've just scratched the tip of of the iceberg, really. You know, there was so many hits. I did a Google search, and there were so many hits and so many interesting things to read about Balbriggan and the history of Balbriggan and them making clothing, because they obviously invented this heel turn, and it was Queen Victoria's favourite.
Really?
Yes. Queen Victoria, if she was wearing socks, would only wear socks, supposedly.
When would she wear socks?
Well, maybe on a cold day in the palace.
Maybe so.
Put a pair of socks on, because she did used to wear quite long dresses, didn't she?
They're down to the ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she could have snuck
So you
in
wouldn't know, I guess, would
a pair
you?
of Balbriggans.
Yeah.
Now, what she used to say was, and what so many people do say is, and I don't understand this terminology, it's a much more secure heel. Now, does that mean...
It means that it won't slip underneath your foot, because some
Right.
heels have a tendency...
Okay.
No, I mean, I've never had a heel flap and gusset do that.
No.
But I know that...
Maybe back then they did. Maybe there was problems. I don't know. Because who knows
maybe.
what they were used to.
Yeah. But I know with some commercial socks, the heel can slip underneath my foot.
Oh.
So maybe that's what it means.
What I would love to know, and this is the reason why it set me off. Well, the reason why I started researching was Jodie's great article got me thinking about the linkage of history and historical things to knitting, and you know, things that we maybe take for granted. What Jodie spoke about with the Kitchener on the toe. I want to know why the Balbriggan heel was designed in the way it's designed. Because you would think something that was designed in the 1800s, it will have been designed that way for a reason. And I want to know what that reason was.
Yeah.
As yet, I haven't got...
It's a very unique construction.
Well, I've also done quite a bit of research now into other people who've knit it. And it seems to fall into a 50-50 split.
Right.
And 50% of the people love it.
Right.
And 50% of the people do not love it. Now, you'll find out later on in the show which of those categories I fall into. But I find that really interesting too, because I do love things. I don't know about UK. I love things which aren't, with the greatest respect to vanilla socks, when I say vanilla, do you know what I mean? Plain.
Of course I do.
Yeah.
Did you just say that to
Well,
me?
no, we were talking about socks, and I didn't want people to think I was meaning vanilla socks. I wasn't meaning vanilla socks. I was meaning.
What do you mean vanilla sock? If you don't mean a plain sock, what do you mean by vanilla socks?
What I mean is anything in life. If it is vanilla, it tends to not. People don't have a reaction to it, do they? If I give you vanilla ice cream, you'll just eat it and go, yeah, that's all right.
I do not. I love vanilla ice cream.
You are quite
I always
different.
go for vanilla ice
Do you know the
cream.
expression there that I'm on about?
I know what you mean, but a lot
it's
of
warranting
people
a
like
reaction.
that plainness. And
Absolutely.
I love that plainness too.
I'm
I'm
not-
a vanilla girl.
I'm not criticising vanilla at all.
Hashtag vanilla girl.
That's wonderful, but I'm not criticising that.
No.
I sometimes am the same as you. What I'm saying is, when it comes to the Balbriggan heel,
Yeah.
I like the fact that the heel is generating a reaction.
Right.
It's better in life, isn't it, to have things that generate a reaction sometimes than just to
Yeah.
constantly knit things you think, yeah, that's all right. It's cool to knit things and think, yeah, that's all right. That's great.
Whether
And,
that
I don't like that at all.
positive or not so positive. It's
There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with a negative view on something so long as it comes from an informed decision. So long as you've tried it with an open mind. If you don't like
absolutely.
it, that's great. But I do love, though, the fact that some people absolutely love it. And the people that love it seem to say things like, I love the way how it hugs my arches.
Right.
So I haven't yet finished the socks. So Kay can't wear them and make a comment with
No,
regards
but
to...
I've put one on.
And did it hug your arches?
Possibly not.
But you see, that might be my skill, although I have looked in depth at finished socks,
Yeah.
and they do all seem to look like mine.
Yes.
But I did find one, because the interesting thing about the Balbriggan heel, and if you want to give the Balbriggan heel a try, I've actually found a pattern that's free, and it's got the Balbriggan heel in, and it's actually brilliantly written out.
Right.
It's brilliantly written
Is
out.
it?
Yes.
Right.
So what I'll do is I'll stick it in the show notes, and if you want to give it a go, give it a go. But one pair really blew my mind, and I'm thinking, hold on a minute, am I doing this wrong? Because one person had knit the socks, and they'd seamed them together on the back. So the seam was on the back.
Up the back of the heel?
Yeah.
Right, that's strange.
And I only found one pair out of all the ones that I found. And there's not actually a huge amount. It's not the most popular heel in the world.
No.
But interesting, isn't it, to know that it was so popular, in fact, that the royalty loved it, because it wasn't just Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria introduced it to the Tsarina of Russia,
Wow.
who thought it was the greatest thing she'd ever put
Can
on
you
her
imagine
feet.
them sat down?
Yeah.
Look at my socks.
You've got to try these socks on. You'll love them.
That's an odd thought, isn't it?
It really is.
One queen to another.
Now, Knitting Horizons we spoke about on the Pop Live that we did on Sunday. And I really loved the opportunity to stop and think about that and just think, because what that's done, the Knitting Horizons thing, and revisiting that, we set that out at the beginning of the year. It's January the 6th. I think was it episode 66, I said?
I don't know.
Something around then. But that has spawned a new cast on from Kay, which is coming later on in the show, which is so exciting.
I won't say I was bullied into it by Dan, but there was a little bit of persuasion.
Go back and watch the episode from January the 6th. See how she talks about this particular style of project. See if you think she looks enthused by it. And then, as the point
No, you're
I
quite
made,
right. Sometimes you need that bit of a push, don't you?
I think it's important. Again, we're talking about some real overarching life lessons here. But I do think it's important in life to review, because you can forget the things you enjoy.
Yes, definitely.
You can go off down a path. You could be at a lovely destination, sounds like our holiday. You could be at a lovely destination and you can get taken off down this huge long path with lots of windy roads. And you forget about the destination that was back here. And, sometimes it's important just to pop back to that destination, put yourself in that headspace again. And then, because I love seeing anyone enthused by a project, but specifically you.
Right.
Because sometimes you're not enthused by a project.
Yes, I think that happens to us all, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. But when you are enthused by one, then, I think it needs nurturing and taking care of.
Yeah, you might be right about this thing. I don't know whether I do love this technique or whether I don't. It's a strange thing, because I did enjoy knitting that item you're talking about, and I'll talk about this when I show the project.
On in the show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I just ask a question about mugs?
Question.
Right. I've got a mug in the cupboard.
It is. It's beautiful.
And it's got my name on it and things. But when you hold it as a right-handed person, the writing is facing me. Shouldn't it be facing outwards so that other people can see what it says? Or is that just me being silly? Because
the question with this mug is this a right-handed mug or a left-handed mug?
I think it's a left-handed mug, because it says cuppa. I don't know if you can see it, but in gold writing here it says cuppa. So you've got to hold it with your left hand for other people to see it says cuppa.
Because it's a cup of tea, because you're drinking it. So you don't need... Or maybe it's for people who are forgetful. What's in there?
What's in there?
Oh,
Oh, it's a cuppa.
It's a cup of tea.
That puzzles me.
Maybe it's a mug for Dory.
Maybe it is.
I would love...
just to remind me.
We've spoken about this before.
Yeah,
so
and I think I once
said,
oh, this is a left-handed mug, and then I just felt ridiculous for saying it.
Please tell us what you think. Is that a left-handed mug, a right-handed mug?
Or is that right, that the writing faces you rather than the world?
Maybe someone watches who designs mugs and knows.
I'm sure there are.
Because if that is like that, and the other one is also in the same position, then there's got to be a reason why they put it there.
Yeah, but I think it should be facing outwards.
Well, it should. Otherwise, what's the point?
Because there's only me that can see that it says lovely cuppa. It doesn't say lovely cuppa, it just says cuppa. But you know what I mean.
What's you knitting? Kay Jones, what's on your needles? I want to know.
I didn't think you were going to say it correctly.
Because I was. I was too keen to see. I don't recall seeing these before.
Oh, look, I should just steal a blocker a minute so I can just pop this on. You maybe no, you haven't seen these. I'm knitting a sock. And
oh, hold on. I know I haven't seen them. Continue.
Okay, I will continue.
Yeah.
This is yarn that I dyed up. I'm doing a little 3-month Harry Potter series at the moment for the patrons, yarn dyeing. It's not a club as such, it's just for 3 months I'm dyeing up a particular colourway, and then I'm putting it for sale with the patrons. And it's a secret. So I tell them the colourway name, but they don't get to see the yarn until they get it. And I've just done one. I do it at the beginning of the month. So I just did one at the beginning of September, and hopefully I think a lot of people have got it now because I have had messages that they've received it. So I would just say, if you're a patron and you haven't yet had that yarn, you might want to look away for a couple of minutes, or you can just look if you want, it's up to you. So the first one that I dyed up is called I Do Love Knitting Patterns. So that might give you a clue. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you'll know exactly who the character is. But of course it's Dumbledore, or Dumbledore, as we like to call him. My inspiration for this colourway was it's the later. It's not Richard Harris. It's, what's his name?
Michael Gambon.
Thank you.
I love Michael Gambon.
Yeah, he's an excellent Dumbledore, actually, I think. I did love Richard Harris, but I do like Michael Gambon as well. I like his humour, the little touches of humour he has.
Yeah.
And he plays it very well. And that particular scene, where he goes to find Professor Slughorn.
Richard Harris will always be Dumbledore.
I do love Richard Harris, yeah. This is inspired by the scene where Dumbledore and Harry go to find Professor Slughorn. Do you know where he's disguised as an armchair? And in that scene, Dumbledore just randomly says, "Can I use your loo, please?" I think it's just to let you never see anybody go to the loo, do you, in films, really? Yeah. And that just made me laugh. It was really funny. And then, of course, he comes back and he's found a magazine, a knitting magazine, and he asks if he can take it. And the robes that Dumbledore wears, I actually looked up several photos because you don't really get a proper view, and especially the back view because he's got the long sort of white flowy hair. And I looked at some pictures and there's actually embroidery on the back of it, and his robes are kind of like a mauvey grey, and then the embroidery on the back is gold and like a salmon colour. So those are the colours that I was trying to achieve, and I think I did it pretty closely, actually. I'm really pleased. So I've started a sock and it looks like this. I'll show you the other side because I've got a really cute stitch marker on and I'll talk about that in a minute. This is my prairie socks pattern. I'm actually knitting prairie socks out of all three of the colourways. I've already got them, worked out and everything, and I've actually got a pair of socks on the needles for all three of the colourways, and I decided to use my prairie socks pattern 'cause it's just really nice. This actually reminds me of what you said about going back to patterns you really enjoy. And I knit 3 pairs of my prairie socks when I first designed the pattern because I just couldn't stop knitting them. And then I haven't ever since. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to knit it. And once again, I'm just addicted to them. I just love the pattern. It just keeps you going, and it's enough interest, that I just seem to zoom through the socks really, really quickly when I work them in this pattern. So I've turned the heel and I'm just working down the gusset stitches. So you can see the yarn is like a mauvey grey base with then shots of gold and like a salmon. And I really like how it came out. That's it in the skein. You can probably see the little pops look better there. And this is I dyed it on an 80/20 merino nylon. It's a really nice, it's a high twist 2-ply. It's a really nice base. I really like it for socks. And I'm knitting these ones for me. The other 2 pairs I'm knitting are for Bryony, but these ones, I said to Bryony, I think I'll have these ones. Is that okay? Because you know what she's like with Harry Potter. And she said that was fine. So I wanted these as more like slouchy house socks. So I'm knitting them on 2.5mm instead of 2.25, just to give that extra bit of ease so that they're just nice and cosy, that slouchy sort of cosy feel. And I'm really enjoying them. Magic Loop, and these are, what are these? Addies, I think. I think they're like sock rockets or equivalent. 2.5mm. And the little stitch marker, can you see it's Deathly Hallows? I don't know if you can see that. It's the Deathly Hallows symbol. And that came with a bag. Oh, I love this bag so much. Let me take that out. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen this bag, but look at my bag. Master gave Dobby a sock, and he's got a little sock, look. And this was made by lovely Denise. She's got an Etsy shop, which Dan will link to. It's called QB's Not For The Number Profit. And what she does is she makes bags She puts them up for sale in her shop, and then all of the profit from the bags that she makes, she donates to cancer research. And that just obviously really, touched my heart, really, because of everything that we've gone through. Plus the fact that it's just the most fantastic bag. So this is a, what's it called? Free motion embroidery. And there's Dobby, look. And this is applique, his little, I don't know where to point, his little smock. I don't know what I'd call that. It's applique and his little sock.
Isn't it a pillowcase?
It's a pillowcase, thank you. So, yeah. And I got this one, and I got one for Bryony as well. And lovely Denise sent me an extra one, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But what you also get inside the bag, it's like, it's a really lovely linen, and then it's just plain inside. But then look, can you see my stitch markers? They're all Harry Potter-ish. So cute. And Bryony with hers, she got a golden snitch. Well, Denise, honestly, if you're watching, she was just like, couldn't speak when I gave her bag, and she'd put loads of pens and pencils in it and everything, and she has it by her side all the time, constantly. She just loves it. That's mine. And then Denise sent this one, a lovely pink one, socks for Dobby, as a giveaway for the podcast, which I just think is just incredibly generous. So what I'm going to do for this, and Bryony's super excited, she kept asking me whether I'd opened this thread yet. I'm going to open a thread on Ravelry, and it will say something like Socks for Dobby bag giveaway. And if you go into that thread, and I just want you to answer the question as to who is your favourite Harry Potter character and why. And then I will draw next time for the winner. So Ravelry thread, tell us who your favourite Harry Potter character is, and you will enter to win this fantastic bag. And do go and look at Denise's shop. She has these bags in quite often, and she posts on Instagram as well. So follow her on Instagram. Fantastic bags. Thank you so much, Denise. So go and enter into that thread if you want to win that wonderful Dobby bag. So yeah, that's my first project, is my Dumbledore socks, and I'm loving them. Really, really loving them. Dan Jones?
Yes.
What's on your needles?
I'm trying to decide what to show.
Oh.
There's so many wonderful things, but I think what I should show you is... What are you smiling at?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing. I don't know, you just sometimes sound like a little boy, like an excited little...
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good going for someone whose birthday is in 2 weeks. But that's for next time. Because next time will be my birthday episode.
It will.
Because it comes out on the 6th of October.
And it's his birthday very shortly after.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's so exciting.
Yeah.
And of course, next time too, we're going on a brand new adventure, and we're going somewhere amazing, and we can't wait to take you there. Yeah, we're just so excited about getting to a place where we know what we're going to. We've never been before. It makes it sound like we've been before.
No, we haven't.
But it's an English heritage site, so we know about the access, and it's Roman. So, winner. We're about to start, aren't we, on October the 1st? Is that right?
Yes.
A toy along.
We are.
Which we're hosting with the Pen, Hook and Needles podcast.
Yes.
Yes. And, well, I thought I should knit a toy. Now, of course, I can't enter the toy along because we're hosting it. So I thought what I would do is I'd start knitting a toy now, and hopefully that'll get all you excited about the toy along. And even you might do a toy too,
I
mightn't you?
am going to do a toy. I'll tell you what it is.
How exciting.
Yeah.
Well, tell us then, tell us.
Oh, you want me to tell you now?
Go on then.
Right, okay. I'm going to be knitting. It's a Susan Claudino pattern.
Oh, yes, we had a fight over this.
Why?
Because we both wanted to knit it, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
K1.
Yeah.
Well, no, she didn't. I decided to knit what I'm knitting.
All right, okay. Susan recently posted on her Instagram feed a modification that she made to this pattern. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. And it's the Voodoo You Love Me, but she knit it so that its head came to like a point, and it had these cute ears. And when I saw it, it just made me think of a Cornish pixie. And I just thought, oh, do you know what? I could knit one of those for Bryony for a birthday or for Christmas and stick it in her Christmas stocking. She'd love that. So I spent ages looking for the right coloured yarn, because it's like that very distinct blue, isn't it? And I've concluded that I think I'm going to use this one, which I bought probably in the last 2-3 months to give it a try. I saw it on, I'm not sure if it was on Nicole's podcast on The Gentle Knitter, and I thought, oh, that looks really intriguing. And it's Alice Starmore Hebridean 2-ply. And I think I can't remember what weight of yarn it is. I think it's like it's not fingering, it's heavier than a fingering. It's kind of like a sport weight, but it's in the Summertide colourway. And look, I thought that was it's looking a little bit more grey on screen. It is more blue in real life. I thought that was quite Cornish pixie-ish. So I'm going to be knitting the modified, if I can work out how Susan did it. And I think I've got some other of her patterns, and one is a little ghost and it's got like this pointy head. And I'm sure I've got a pattern of hers that's got ears. And also Cornish pixies have wings, but I've also got the bat pattern, which has wings. So I'm going to amalgamate all of her patterns and just try and achieve something that looks remotely like a Cornish pixie.
Cool. So you'll be casting that on, and you'll probably have that on the go next time, won't you?
Yes, I would have thought so.
Or the time after.
Will it be? Yes, it'll be.
Oh, well, it'll have started next time.
Yeah.
So she'd better have started it by then.
Yeah.
What am I knitting? Well, I thought I'd seen this bear pattern, and I thought I'd give it a go. Because, of course, I knit one of Susan Claudino's, and I really quite liked the look of that. But then I thought, well, I've knit one of Susan's patterns, so if I'm going to properly see if I like knitting toys or not, because I actually enjoyed knitting the Wasabi more than I probably thought I did at the time on reflection. And do you know what I've realised about toy knitting is that it's sort of instant reward knitting, because
it can be, some of them can be very quick.
Well, even the ones, because I don't know if you would say this is quick or not.
Yes, I would say it's quick.
Right then, you start and finish. I've never knit something and started and finished knitting a proportion of it in one sitting.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You can. It's like Dan says. It is an instant reward because you can knit the head one day, legs another day, and it does.
If your toy has a head and legs,
of course, yes.
So I thought I would sit down and I would give this a go. And I don't know if you've seen this pattern at all. It's by a young designer, young lady. It is. She's called Kay Jones.
It's funny, isn't it?
And it's funny to be finally. Can you believe it? Look, I'm knitting a Mr. Bakery Bear.
He's never knit any of my patterns. Can you believe that?
I haven't.
It's disgraceful, isn't it? Really.
Well, I did the wasabi as a sort of dip your toe in the water, see what I think.
It's a great first toy project, that.
Yeah. Hey, you could do that. You know.
Anybody could do that.
And I would say
brilliantly written.
If you've not knit a toy, try, because I would honestly have said that wouldn't be my thing.
No, and a lot of people would say that toys aren't their thing and they don't have anybody to knit toys for. But I think you could always find, if you wanted to have a go, I think you could always find someone to give it to if it wasn't necessarily
just taking
your
wasabi,
thing.
It's such a short-term pattern. Just give it a go, because the reason why I would say you should give it a go is I've never knit anything before where you can sort of see it coming to life, and that was quite fun. You know, if you're knitting socks, or they don't come to life because they're socks.
Yeah.
But if you're knitting something that's got eyes and a mouth.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, even if you make a hash of it, so long as
They're
it's got
always
eyes
cute.
and a mouth, it's always going to be cute.
It's always cute.
So I knit wasabi, and I like that. And I'm so glad that I did knit wasabi, because the knitting of this utilised skills that I learned in the knitting of wasabi. It's a Bakery Bear head. It looks quite small.
It is a bit smaller because that's DK weight.
And I'm a tight knitter.
You're a tight knitter, and I knit mine in worsted weight. Well, we've got one here, haven't we?
I'm going to need help stuffing that head.
Yeah, that's fine.
And the reason for that is I'm not passing the buck. I can't quite get my finger inside that.
Oh, no, that's fine.
So if you could assist me.
I will stuff the head for you.
Well, I suppose that's an interesting question. If you are like me, what could you use something to push it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people use like a chopstick.
Right.
Wants
to be a blunt-ended, smooth thing.
Nothing pointy, like a thin, the handle of a wooden spoon, if it's a thin handle. is a good thing. But I've done several videos, haven't I, for the patrons on finishing a bakery bear.
And I'm really glad you said that, because there've been a few requests from podcast patrons about some more general assistance in toy knitting. And to support the Toy Along, Kay is doing a tutorial in general toy knitting and advising cast on and getting going.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming out soon.
But the way that I stuff is, I mean, a little bit at a time, it really is the key, I find. You know, don't get, if you're stuffing something like a head, you don't want to get a whole big ball of stuffing and just shove it all in together. You want to pull off little bits and start packing it down at the bottom, pull off little bits and keep going around and around. It takes a bit of time, but the finishing is the thing with toys, I think, because the actual knitting of the pieces is very quick, as you're finding.
Yeah.
It's the finishing that you need to just take that little bit of extra time with, and it really makes a difference if you take your time with the finishing, I think. So yeah, I will help you, and it's such a cute colour. Look at that. He's going to be adorable. I wonder what colour jumper will suit him. Grey maybe, or green. So it's lovely yarn.
And I'm just on the ears. Does that look right?
Yes, you need another colour, don't you?
Yeah.
Because he's got a little bit of contrast colour, Mr. Bakery Bear, in his ear.
So,
and Dan was insistent, no, I want the contrast ears.
Yes. It's kismet. It's abundant. And it's light worsted.
Yeah, and they don't die anymore, do they? So this was very precious stash.
Yes.
Sent to us by lovely Amber.
Thank you, Amber. I absolutely love it.
It's a gorgeous colour.
Yeah, and it's really, really nice.
It's really plump and a lovely, lovely yarn.
The polar opposite of splitty.
Yes, it's a nice tight twist.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love knitting with yarns like that, to be honest.
Yeah. It's got a greenish hue to it, hasn't it? I think it's like it's been dyed mustard and then over-dyed with green, which I think is why maybe an olive green jumper would look really cute, I think. Yeah. And Bryony's named him already. You know, whenever there's a toy on the go, she can smell it within 10 miles, and she's already named him. So you need to get on, don't you?
I do need to get on. What else is on your needles?
Well, talking of toys, although I'm kind of reluctant to call this a toy for some reason. I don't quite know why. It's like he's a bit more special than just a toy. It's like he's going to be a member of the family kind of thing, which a lot of toys
they do
feel like that, don't they? But this is lovely Otto, as I've called him. It's Sven Scandinavian. It's this lovely pattern that I'm sure you've all seen by now. And I have done some work on it. It's been really hard to actually find the time when Bryony's been at school, just because I've had so many other things I had to do. But I did find some time this last week, and I sat down and I did some work on lovely Otto.
Because, of course, Mrs. Claus is knitting one for Bryony for Christmas, so you thought that you'd knit one for Mrs. Claus.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll put his little hat on because it does go on and does look incredibly cute. So I finished knitting his it's like a nightcap, isn't it? You know, the old-fashioned sort of nightcaps that you see like Ebenezer Scrooge wearing. It's a bit like that. So here's lovely Otto. Oh, hello, look at his hat. Look how long his hat is. I've not put it on quite on his head right, but you get the idea. So the hat, I knit using Osterman Step. It's this one. And the colourway number is 0248. It's incredibly soft, this yarn. I really love it. I have knit a couple of pairs of socks in this yarn, and I've got a few balls of this. And it's just so lovely and soft. It's got added aloe vera and jojoba. Would you say jojoba or jojoba oil?
I'm more interested in the fact that they add aloe vera to the yarn.
Yeah.
That's mental.
But feel it. You can feel it in it. It's very soft.
Are you then being moisturised as you knit?
Very possibly.
Because I'm sure both those things are in hand creams.
They are, yeah.
That's
and face
mental,
creams and everything, yeah. But it's a lovely, lovely yarn, and it's very reasonably priced, you know, and you get a lot of bang for your buck, I think, with this, because it produces that lovely sort of different stripy sort of fabric. That's how it knits up this particular one. And it's very soft, lovely. It's just lovely, lovely yarn. So I use that for the hat, and I just need to put on a tassel, and I'll do it in this same colour of Jameson's that I've used here. So the rest of him is Jameson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight in various different colours. So it's Jameson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight, and they do such a huge array of colours. So whatever your colour palette is, you could make one that coordinates with that, because the colours are just fantastic. And a lot of them are really heathered. This one that I'm knitting his jumper with, if you can see, it's got yellowy sort of heather running through it. It's lovely. So this is where I'm up to. Oh, look, he's got a little jumper with sleeves. It's so cute. And I'm just at the ribbing now of the jumper. So I've just got to knit, I think it's 3/4 of an inch of ribbing. And then his jumper will be finished. And then I can start on his trousers. And I need to do his beard. I keep meaning to do his beard before I do anything else, because I just want to see what he's going to look like with his little beard. Isn't he cute? Oh, it's so sweet. And I'm knitting it on 2.75 millimetres, and I'm using, what are these called?
They're called knitting needles.
Thank you very much. Didn't know that. Knit Pick Sunstroke. Is that right?
That sounds right to me.
I've got the little.
And I'm stunned. It does sound right to me.
Yes, Knit Pick's Sunstroke. I do like these needles. They're just like the Knit Pro Symphonies Harmonies. Exactly the same, but they're just undyed. You know, they're just the natural wood, and I think I prefer that. The darker needles, you know, the Harmonies, Symphonies, as much as I love them, if you've got a dark coloured yarn, it's a bit of a thing, isn't it? Especially at night time, if you've got dark yarn and dark needles. Whereas this, even with light coloured yarn, you're fine, and with dark coloured yarn, you're obviously fine. So I do really like those. And they've got nice points. A win-win all round, really. So that's lovely Otto, and that's how far he is. And then, of course, to go along with him, I'm knitting him a blanket, because he's got to have a blanket, hasn't he, in the North Pole, which is where he's going to. So this is where I'm up to with his lovely blanket. Isn't it sweet? So what I did was I'm knitting it this way actually, but it will be this way. So I started with the mitered squares at the bottom, and there's 8. And I was just going to do it all mitered squares. And then I suddenly thought, oh, let me try this. So what I did is I picked up stitches, leaving, you can see here, leaving the 2 gaps at the end here. So I picked up stitches way down there. And then I'm knitting this sort of garter middle. And then as I go along, when I've got enough stitches on the edge here to pick up, I'm adding another square. And I think it's going to be 6 across, so I'm not that far actually. So I'm going to do 6 across, and then I'll work another border of mitered squares down this side. And then I think what I might do, because although this looks perfectly neat as an edge, I might just pick up all the stitches along and just knit maybe 3 rows of garter. Do you know, like you do on a log cabin? I might just do that in this same colour here, so that I think it'll finish it off nicely. Either that, or I might pick up and do like an I-cord border like I did on my bits and bobs. But I think I will just finish it off a little bit with that same centre colour. So I'm really enjoying that. And this I'm knitting on 3mm, I think. Yes, they're 3mm. And I like the fabric with 3mm actually. It's really nice, because I thought for a blanket I didn't want it too stiff. I wanted it nice and floppy. And I think that'll be nice and floppy. So look at him under his blanket. Ooh, should we see if he fits? Oh, hello. Oh, it's so cute. Look how cosy he's going to be under his blanket.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? I'd probably be a terrible blanket knitter, because you want, I mean, you do need it floppy, don't you, with blankets?
Yeah. I mean, you don't want it really stiff. No.
Because that, I mean...
You just have to use bigger needles. So that you're...
The thing is, though, it's funny, I have no aspirations.
To knit a blanket.
You're talking about knitting aspirations, and I really do...
How funny. I've never
find it interesting.
I love
This is
knitting
why
blankets.
I like big projects, because I like to cast on and have something big to get my teeth into.
You should knit a blanket.
No, because I've got tons of tiny little things to make. Is that you done?
It is for that project, and this is all Jameson and Smith as well. Obviously, jumper weight. It's all the same.
Just remember with the
yarn.
Jameson and Smith, we touched on this when Kay spoke about this initially. If you remember, I said that Kay showed me the colours and asked me which ones I thought were the nicest, and there were so many I couldn't answer her. So you do have to put the effort in and have faith in the fact that when it comes, it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah,
because I couldn't believe it when it came. Because honestly, I looked at the page and I was like, it was too much.
The colours are lovely, and
But would you agree though that
you do?
Because none of them have names, do they? They're all numbers.
They're all numbers. I don't know that they have names. I could be
It makes
completely
it very
wrong.
difficult.
But when
Picking.
they're all numbers. The shade numbers. Yeah. So, and also when you're ordering from a monitor, the colours can look different.
Yeah.
I loved them all, but some of them did look slightly different to what was on my monitor. Not in a bad way, but you just have to bear that in mind. So,
is there a way of filtering or is it just these are all our colours? Or
what do you mean by filtering?
Could you go? Can I see all the pink?
You might be able to do that on Jameson and Smith's actual website.
Right.
I've ordered all mine from Pearl Essence.
Right.
Because they were quick. I think they were quicker. That was the only reason that I didn't use Jameson's and Smith. And I was going to order from them because I wanted a colour card as well, but they didn't have one, a shade card. But someone that I know is going to Shetland Wool Week and they're going to pick me up a shade card.
Right.
Which is incredibly generous of her. And she actually said, I'll get you some yarn as well if you want. And I said, well, that's really kind, but I do have quite a lot of, because I ordered like loads, but I'd love a shade card. So
would that be Jeanette?
She's going to get me one. It is Jeanette.
Who is also writing about her adventures in the next issue of Knitability.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it is Jeanette.
And
Lovely
I'm excited. I'm so excited about it. She was like, do you think it'll be okay? I was going, yes.
Yeah.
It'll be immense.
So I'm really grateful, Jeanette, that you're going to do that for me. And what I will say about this yarn is, because a lot of people, I'm knitting something else with it, and I'll talk about that next, but a lot of people say, it's too scratchy for me. And I do get that. It is a rustic yarn. But then also a lot of people have said when it washes, that it does soften up. Now, for the purposes of Otto and Otto's blanket, it doesn't matter, does it? But the other thing that I'm knitting, it's
weird that. Because
it doesn't, I don't think it's as scratchy as you expect it to be.
No.
And I've said this before, and I could wear a cardigan in this.
Yeah.
And the thing about this yarn is, I think it would wear incredibly well, and I think it would wash brilliantly well.
I tell you what I could wear in that.
Hand wash, of course.
I could wear a Fair Isle tank top in that.
Yeah, well, that's what it's designed for. It's designed for Fair Isle and stranded. Oh, shush. Knit your own Fair Isle
come on,
tank
you were
top.
going to do me you were going to make...
and I've got a pattern ready in the yarn. I'm not knitting you a Fair Isle tank top.
Not this year, no.
Not this... ever. But I might be eating my words, you never know. So, these little balls, they're 25 grams. So even if you just pick up one ball, I think it's like less than £3 for one ball, and just swatched and just gave it a go, swatched and washed it and just see how you felt about it. You might feel differently. So I would just say, give it a little go, because I thought the same thing, I'll be honest. I thought the same thing. And when I started knitting with it for Otto, I thought, you know what, I quite like knitting with this, and it's brilliant for the Fair Isle. I say Fair Isle, it isn't. I did a little bit of colour work here, and I actually followed, it was a chart. Needless to say, it was a very simple chart. I still managed to mess it up, and I missed off one of the rows of the lighter colour, but I just thought, you know what, it's fine, isn't it? It's just for the top of his jumper. So that's just me and charts, isn't it?
You're finished.
Yes, I'm going to put him back to bed.
Lovely.
Oh, and I've got my blanket in a lovely bag. This came from Sarah, and I'll talk about Sarah a bit more when we get to another segment of the podcast. But thank you so much, Sarah. I love it. My blanket is living in that very happily.
So now you've finished.
Yes.
Amazing.
Oh, have I dropped?
Looky. Look, my speed has really gone up. I'm knitting socks at least 30% quicker than I was. I think it's potentially even more than that. And I can gauge that because I'm putting that marker down in the sand every month with the video I do.
30%, that's very accurate.
Well, it is. I looked at it very closely and I'm further on than I expected to be at this point. Because, I've just done that monthly down our project check.
Yeah.
And I'd set myself a target and I smashed it.
Right.
I properly smashed it. So I believe that next time I'll smash it even further. What I've been able to do this month is because I've been knitting the bootstrap and I've been knitting the checked and squared, I've been able to really nail down on how much I like this. Because I know I said before I liked it. Well, I can tell you even more categorically, I think this might be my go-to sock pattern.
Really?
Yeah,
Right.
because I really like the fabric it creates. But more importantly, I really enjoy knitting it because there's just enough interest to keep you going.
You ought to try that amazing pattern by that lovely designer that I was just talking about, because that's the same sort of thing.
Yes, I will.
I keep saying to him, try the
yeah, well,
Paris
look,
socks. Try it.
I will, but I can't while I'm knitting
No, that's true.
all these patterns,
Yes.
because otherwise I'll just never do it. And I think I'm going to just do it because I've got...
Oh, in the time scale, you mean?
I'm at the halfway point now.
Right.
I've got 6 patterns to go,
Right.
and there was 10 in total.
Right. So you're not halfway then.
But I'm close.
Right.
If you think I started slow
Yeah.
and I've picked up pace,
Yeah.
well, I think I'm going to do it.
Oh, cool.
Well, I do.
You're very determined. Usually when you set your mind to something, you will do it, won't you?
Yeah, I mean, it might be that in that last month, I started it in April, so it might be that in March next
Next year.
knitting socks like
a man possessed.
But I'll give it my all. And what's important about this is the fact that you're learning stuff, and I am learning a huge amount because up until I did this, I'd never knit a pattern in a sock, and I'll be honest, socks had been a chore. Whereas now I've tried lots of different patterns, and I know what I like and I know what I don't like, and I'll find out even more before I finish because the next pattern, the Uncommon Dragon pattern, which is the next one I'm going to cast on, looks really complex, doesn't it?
It's not, but
Right.
it's the most complicated one you will have done.
Well, that should be good. And, I've got a lovely Christmassy colourway that you dyed up.
Oh, yeah, is that what you're going to use for that one? Right.
I am. But there it is. It is, of course, the second sock. I'm pushing on down the foot. There's the first one. And Bryony loved it. She loves the colour. So I really want to get them finished.
It's a nice colour, that one.
And, then she can win. What else is on your needles?
Well, I might as well carry on in the Jameson and Smith vein, hadn't I?
Yes.
And show you this next project, which I cast on just yesterday. When we did pop on Saturday, just gone, as Dan said, we were talking about knitting horizons and things. And the thing that I was knitting that Dan was referring to, it was when I was knitting the hat for Bryony, the split back snowflake hat by lovely Susan B. Anderson. And I was knitting that as a gift, a Christmas gift for Bryony last year. And it's got colourwork obviously on it. And he remembered me saying how much I enjoyed knitting it. And I did really enjoy knitting it. And it's like he said, I had forgotten how much I enjoyed knitting it. And I haven't knit any colourwork since then. Oh, apart from Otto's little jumper, which I don't think really counts at all. So he said, well, why don't you have another go at something colourwork? And then I remembered, as we were doing pop, I remembered that I'd actually got a pattern. And when I look back, I bought it 3 years ago. How ridiculous is that? And I've never knit it. And it's by Kate Davies, who I think is one of the masters of, colourwork and Fair Isle. And it's this hat. It's the Snorheed, I think. But it's this one. It's a paid for pattern on Ravelry. So it's lovely, lovely pattern. And as we were talking, I said, you know what, I've got that pattern. And then I said, I wonder what yarn it is. And then one of our patrons told me as we were talking what the yarn was. And I said, oh my goodness, I've got loads of that yarn. because one of the yarns you can knit it in is the Jameson and Smith 2-ply jump away. And I was like, well, I've got the yarn. I've got absolutely no excuse, haven't I, not to
None at
start
all.
it. So I was going to start it that weekend, but then I looked at my needles and I didn't have the right size needle, unbelievably. Considering my needle stash, I went through it 3 times. I'm like, I cannot believe I've not got this size, because you need a 2.5mm and a 2.75mm. I had 2.75 and I had 2.25, but not 2.5. So I thought, well, let's just order the right size. So I've got those yesterday and I cast on yesterday. So the 2 colours I'm using, I decided I really love this particular colour of Jameson and Smith's. And it's shade number 1280 Mix. It's this one. And I hope this shows up on screen, because it's got, can you see? You can see. It's got like little tiny hints of purple and little tiny hints of blue running through a grey base. It's really, really pretty. So I'm using that colour as the main colour, and my snowflakes, so I'm doing it opposites. My snowflakes are going to be the darker colour. And it's this purple, which I had as well. And I think the purple really picks up the flecks in the grey yarn. And I just thought that would be fun to knit as well. I wanted colours that would be fun to knit, because I do think this will challenge me, because it's not something that I particularly was in my mind to knit. So I think it maybe will be a little bit of a challenge. So I thought, if I choose colours that are really lovely, then that will spur me on. And I've finished the rib, and it's called a beaded rib. It's not like a plain rib. I don't know whether it will transfer, but it does have a slightly different detail within the rib. As you can see, you cast on with the contrast and then knit the rib with the main colour. And I've just increased all my stitches, so I'm now ready to start the colour work. So what I need to do is go and remind myself, not the two-handed technique, I can do that, that's fine. What I need to just remind myself on is how I caught my floats on the back, because I did that with the snowflake hat that I knit before. And I did it no problem, and I really enjoyed doing it. So I just need to quickly remind myself how I did that, and then I can start on the colour work. So I'm knitting it exactly to pattern. Yeah, we will see how we go with that. So fingers crossed I'll have some good progress on that next time. I did find it, because on that final round you have to increase, and you do the increases by picking up a strand across and knitting into the back. And I think it was just the combination of these needles not being particularly pointy, they're just Knit Pro Novas, and the yarn being a little bit splitty, can be a bit splitty. I had real problems doing going into the back of the stitch. I managed it, but it took me ages to do it, and I just thought, well, it's one round, I can do it. So in hindsight, I wish I'd had slightly pointier needles just to do that increase round, but it was fine, and I did it. And I'm now ready to start on the colour work. So if you want to, I'm doing just like a very informal knit along, just a very casual thing. So if you want to join in and knit some colour work, even if you've started something already and you've maybe not worked on it for a while, this might just encourage you to pick it up and just do a bit of work on it. Then if you want to hashtag it on Instagram, it's casual colour work. I put up a post yesterday with that hashtag on if you want to go and look. So yeah, and I'm hoping this, when you touch it, it does feel rustic. But you've got your hair, haven't you? And I do think it will soften with a soak, a nice long soak as well. I do think it will soften. And I think it will just be the kind of hat that you have forever. That's the sort of feel. And I do like that thought that piece of knitwear that you've done, in 20 years' time you're still going to be wearing it. And I think that's a lovely thing. And I don't think you necessarily get that with some commercial yarns don't wear quite as well, I think.
Look, I'm continuing with my Messalina cowl test knit.
Oh, you see, that is a pattern of mine, so I take it all back.
Aha! There you go. You see? and it's great. It's great fun. Love cables. Started a cable club, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I've been hashtagging it.
How many members have you got?
Well, I know there's one definite.
Oh, everybody join his club. That's so sad. Who's the one person?
Erica Luda.
Oh, Erica, you're so lovely.
Well, she loves cables.
She does.
So,
yeah,
I decided to
Oh, I feel so sorry for you.
start a club. That's fine.
Shall I join?
It's an exclusive club.
I'm knitting something that's got cables.
Okay.
Can I be a member?
Yes.
Do I have to pay?
No.
Okay.
Anyone can join. If you love cables, that's the only thing that's required is a love of cables. I can't remember the hashtag I did, so I'll need to check it and
okay.
I'll pop it below.
Okay.
So you can, if ever you're knitting anything cabled, you can hashtag it. It might have just been Cable Club, but I can't remember. So just look below. There will be the hashtag, and do feel free to come and join in. It's of course Susan Claudino yarn, and I mean I love.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It does look lovely, doesn't it?
It's gorgeous.
I mean with that twisted.
Yeah, the colours are just beautiful.
That you've done, it's just
Yeah.
cool. I mean
It's so soft as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to have that around my neck. It'll be lovely.
Yeah, it is.
Get on with it.
Yes, absolutely. I keep getting excited about colours that are
Coming up,
coming through. I do love green. I've always loved green.
Oh, it suits you.
Right.
I think you are drawn to certain colours because they suit your colouring.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly. Well, that green in particular I find really,
It's
really
like
nice.
a sort of olivey green, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd love to have a green car, actually. That would be cool. Racing
Oh,
car.
I saw an advert for, it was the new Fiat 500 the other day. And
With
it
that
was
minty colour?
No, not the minty colour. It was a blue. It was the most beautiful blue. It was
Right.
a special edition.
It's the one that's
I think
harking back to the original.
Yes, it's harking back to the original
Yeah.
Fiat 500. Oh my goodness, it was the most beautiful coloured car I've seen in a long time. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I've always liked
It's
the
a
look.
very cute car.
Yeah, I know that.
If
I know
I was
that the
gonna get another
originals.
car, then
Well, I know that the original ones had a real problem with catching fire.
yeah, but I think they must have fixed that.
I remember we had a real close family friend. I remember when I was young, and I remember her coming round for my dad used to give singing lessons, and she came around for a singing lesson, and she had a different car, and he said, "Oh, where's your Fiat?" And literally that week she'd been
caught fire.
Yeah, she'd been sat in traffic, and she just said it just started to smell awful, so she got out and it caught fire and burnt out.
My car once caught fire. You were driving it.
That was
He set my car on fire.
fuel got into the exhaust box that sits underneath. I'm no good with cars, but fuel got into that box that's on the way down the pipe to go out, and once it gets into that box it can't get out, and it caught fire. That fuel, luckily it didn't spread, but that box caught fire, which made the car smell awful.
I couldn't believe it. I said,
But we got it
broken my
fixed.
car.
We got it fixed.
Oh yeah, and it still runs my car.
Job done. So that's the end of What's on Your Needles, and I was particularly excited with two very exciting brand new cast-ons.
You were particularly excited with two very exciting.
Yes, I used the word exciting too many times.
Yes.
And also as well, really good to see that toy going to knit. It's going to be great fun. It's been the first time ever that we've both sat and knit toys. And
I'm really looking forward to knitting it actually. I think it'll be super cute.
Bryony said, actually, the other day, she was saying, "So you're knitting a bakery bat?" I said, "Yes." She said, "And you're going to sit next to the designer while you knit it?"
She did say
So,
that.
yes.
It was really
And
funny.
what she did successfully is put across the reason why I have never done it up until now. Because the pressure of doing that. Can you imagine sitting next to the designer of any pattern and knitting it?
It's like me sitting next to Susan while I'm knitting that. I'd be like, oh my gosh.
I think not.
Is she
She's
watching
going
me
to be
doing these
looking
knit
over
front
my
backs?
shoulder. Yeah. It's exactly what she's going to be doing. Or sitting next to Susan when you were knitting that hat.
Yes.
Yes, Susan B. Anderson.
Susan B. Anderson.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's now time for the very last, certainly for 2017, Biscuit Banter. Oh, what a shame it's the last one. But don't worry, because in episode 84 we're launching something brand new and you are going to love it.
I'm really scared about that.
About what?
About that. Is it,
What?
we're going to be eating things. Is it that one?
Look, you're getting all
All right. Confused.
mixed up and confused. So
Okay.
just move on.
I'll just blank my brain.
Blank your brain. look, you're very happy about what we're launching. Very,
All
very
right,
happy.
okay.
You're unbelievably excited
Brilliant.
about it. So yeah, that is in episode 84. But today is time for us to finish off 2017 season of Biscuit Banter.
Biscuit Banter.
And we're finishing with what some people say is the best biscuit to dunk with.
Really?
And they say that because of its hard nature.
That's true. It's very hard biscuit.
This is a biscuit that first appeared in Britain in the 1840s.
Wow.
And actually, you could trace it back an awful lot further than that if you talk about... Now, the biscuit we're going to be dunking today is the ginger nut.
Ginger nuts.
But the ginger nut is quite often confused with gingerbread.
Oh, yes.
Now, gingerbread and ginger nuts are different
There you
things. Gingerbread is thicker and softer.
Yes.
And also, if you have heard of something, and this just sounds wrong for me to say, but if you've heard of pepper nuts, this is a variety of gingerbread. So ginger nuts are not pepper nuts. They're not gingerbread.
No.
This is something different.
Yes.
Now, as I've said, arguably it's perfect for dunking because it's so hard. So there is limited chance of droppage.
Right.
But I know for a fact...
I put that over my entire head.
I know for a fact that I have dunked ginger nuts historically too long and I have had droppage.
Yeah, but they are very, very hard.
The danger with the ginger nut is, I think, that there is... If we take the rich tea, for example... You're never going to get droppage because you're in and out relatively quickly.
That's true.
With the ginger nut, the danger is, I'm virtually certain that the line between too long and too short is very short with the ginger nut.
I'd say so.
Because it stays hard for ages and then suddenly it goes all floppy.
Yeah.
And then you've got a problem.
Yeah.
In America, they're known as ginger snaps.
Ginger snaps.
Now, a ginger snap in this country...
Ginger snap.
A ginger snap in this country is the thing with the cream through the middle. Isn't it?
No,
The
that's
ginger
a brandy
thing.
snap.
Oh, sorry.
You're getting
But why
very
do they taste of
confused.
ginger?
Because there's ginger in them.
Oh, this is all confusing. No,
And there's no brandy in, as far as I know. I've no idea why they're called
I do
brandy
like
snaps.
a brandy snap.
Oh, lovely.
I mean, that is an intense ginger sugary hit.
Oh, with cream in the middle. Oh,
In fact,
my
I mean,
word.
with respect to ginger nuts, I'd much rather be eating a brandy snap.
That's not a biscuit, though,
It
is
isn't,
I
but
don't know what it is. What is that?
it's a confection.
I suppose.
Yes, sugarcraft.
Yeah.
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 So a brandy snap, circular thing, cream through the middle, delicious.
Yeah, you have to
But-
fold it while it's warm.
But how do you eat a brandy snap? Because as soon as you bite it, it just goes everywhere.
Yeah, because the cream in the middle is obviously very soft and the brandy snap is very hard. So they're a tricky thing.
They're a very tricky thing to eat. So, America, they're known as ginger snaps. They're considered one of the healthiest biscuits in the world due to their iron-rich molasses content.
Brilliant.
And they can provide 1/10 of the recommended daily allowance of the good-for-the-blood iron.
I need to eat a whole packet in that case.
Well, if
then.
it's 1/10, how many would you need? 1/10. How many would you
in a
need?
biscuit.
Yeah, if 1/10.
Well, you'd need to eat 10 biscuits, wouldn't you?
So 10 ginger snaps, if you're in America.
Is that
10,
right?
10 ginger nuts every day, and you've had your allowance of good for the blood iron.
Really?
Well, that's certainly the research I found.
It does say it contains iron?
Now, I'd love to know what these biscuits are called. Do you call them in New Zealand, if you're watching in New Zealand, do you call them ginger nuts? Because in the research I've done, the ginger nut is one of the most popular biscuits in New Zealand. We need to try them.
But we've also got these.
We do. But I think, first of all, so we
do.
don't do a mixed message, because that says gingerbread.
But then it says crunchy ginger biscuits.
You see, I don't think that's gingerbread.
No, it's
That's not gingerbread.
That's not gingerbread.
That is that a fairing?
Yeah, we've got these ones as well. Lovely Sarah, who lives in Cornwall, sent me a message and said, I'd love to send you some traditional Cornish fairings, which was brilliant because that tied in with us doing ginger biscuits. So we've also got Cornish gingerbread. It does say gingerbread. I don't think these are gingerbread. I think it is a ginger biscuit. And this is what it looks like. And they snap. It's not gingerbread. I don't think this is gingerbread, but we've got these to try as well. And Sarah...
Can we just take a moment to digest the fact that in Cornwall, not only is there a place called Cheese Ring, There is also a place
called
Minions.
Minions. How fabulous!
That is just unbelievable. And that look is just down from Tintagel. Now, Tintagel, that is a cool place. That is one of the best castles I've ever visited.
I've never been to Cornwall. Sarah, I've never been to Cornwall.
It's a cool place.
And Sarah actually has a podcast which I watch, and it's lovely. It's called A Dorky Emu. And she's the one that sent me the bag, and she's a dorkyemu.etsy.com.
Cool.
So go watch Sarah if you've not watched her.
Let's give it a try.
Right, we need to dunk. I'm just going to do half a biscuit, even though I'm starving today.
Yeah. That's very nice. That's really nice.
It brings out the ginger.
My goodness, am I on the cusp of droppage? I mean, I did hold that for slightly too long.
These are brilliant as well. If you suffer from morning sickness when you're pregnant, ginger is fantastic for your stomach. It really calms your stomach. And nibbling on a ginger biscuit, if you're feeling a bit nauseous, it really, really helps. So you having another? They do taste much more gingery when you dip them, don't they?
That's really nice. I mean, credit where credit's due. That's really nice.
I'm going to try Sarah's Fairies.
We have ended on two highs because we did rich teas last time.
I don't know how long to dunk this for, Sarah.
And rich teas are immense. I've gone longer there.
It's lovely. It's very different. It's a bit chewy.
Wow.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's really good.
But on its own, it's not. If you
Sarah.
had that just on its own, that's not chewy.
Really?
You dunk it.
And it goes a bit chewy, Sarah. They're fantastic. They're not as strongly gingery as a ginger nut, but I like that. Look at him. Sarah is going to eat the whole packet.
My goodness, that is
very
amazing.
Good. They're very good.
And I didn't expect that.
They're lovely. So
we both said.
If you're in Cornwall, definitely pick up a box of these.
I think we both said that we didn't know how well these would dunk.
No, I think we did say that. Yeah, fantastic.
Well,
brilliant.
That's tricky now because I think that. Oh no! You see.
There's twice as much saturated fat in one of these as opposed to a ginger nut.
That's probably why it's gone a bit gooey.
Did I only eat half of it? I'm all right.
It's a different thing to a rich tea.
Very different.
And it's sort of... I do think the rich tea still needs to win out. Oh, it's tricky. Now, this is really tricky because I can't remember where the rich tea came. So this is going to be honest.
It was high. I think it might have been 10, wasn't it, rich tea?
Well, I can't remember. This is going to be a really good test because it's got to be a 9.
I'm erring between an 8 and a 9, so
8.5 then.
8.5.
That is definitely the nicest out of everything apart from the rich tea.
Possibly, yeah. I'm trying to think what else we tried. Digestive, we had a digestive.
No.
I really love digestive.
No. And we dunked a custard cream.
Yeah, that's not really a dunking biscuit, we decided, didn't we? A custard cream. Did we or did we not?
No, it dunks.
It does.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I think it would be harsh to say that it's a non-dunker.
Yeah.
But I think we're definitely going. Now you see what's tricky though is
that one's lovely.
That one. That is an 8.5. But what's that? That's probably not an 8.5.
I'd go 8. Yeah, maybe 8 or yeah.
Yeah.
Would you go 8?
Okay. So
8 for a ginger nut.
But this is better.
And then
that's better than half.
It.
Do you not think that's better than half a mark better?
Definitely. These are lovely.
So is that 7.5 then?
Okay.
And that's 8.5.
Right.
So standard ginger nut, dunked 7.5.
Cornish
one of these
fairings.
Cornish absolute beauties.
That is lovely. It's that chewiness in the middle that does it. Fantastic.
That's the first biscuit I've dunked, which is better dunked than neat.
Than neat?
Yes.
Than raw? I don't know. Why do you say that?
You get one of these biscuits, dunk it.
You need to dunk it.
Because it just makes it just the most gorgeous thing ever. That was delicious, as you saw by how fast I ate it.
You eat everything fast, but yeah.
So that is the end, certainly for 2017, of Biscuit Banter.
We will be doing, because there is another biscuit that we have to do and we haven't done yet, and I'm quite devastated that we haven't done it yet.
What's that?
Fig roll.
No, we did. We dumped fig rolls.
Have we done fig rolls?
Yes. We dumped fig rolls because I had one.
Did we?
And it turned my stomach, but I did it.
Oh, of course
We've
we
done
did.
fig rolls.
Why did I think we hadn't done fig rolls?
Because you're obsessed by them.
Maybe so.
So yes, we've done fig rolls. We've done a lot. We did digestives, we've done custard cream, we've done fig rolls, we've done rich teas, and we finished off with, oh come on, that knocks fig rolls so far out the park, it's not even fair to compare them as the same thing. Oh, we did. That was immense.
That is immense. It is a fantastic biscuit. Yeah.
Get some. Okay, it's time for us to find out.
Yeah.
Kay Jones.
Yeah.
What's off your noodles?
Oh. Well, seeing as Dan has let down the side once again, I do have some...
No, I do have something.
Do you? Well, he's going to cheat if he does have something. I do have something off my needles. Yay! I finished a pair of socks.
Well done, you.
That was really sarcastic.
It wasn't meant that way. It genuinely wasn't meant that way.
I'm sure it wasn't.
It wasn't, I swear.
I live with this daily, everyone. Look, I finished my box beans. Aren't they just fabulous?
It's fabulous, darling.
Look at these. Oh my goodness, are these like the happiest socks you've ever seen? I love them. And I knit them really fairly quickly for me. You know, they knit up fairly quickly just because it just kept me going. You know, the yarn just kept me going. It was just so lovely. And I've got loads left. Look how much I've got left.
It's gorgeous yarn.
It's lovely.
I mean, it really is.
So it's London House Yarns. Lovely stuff. In box beans. And I reckon I've got 40 grams left there because I did heels and toes, so I think that's why I've got so much. But I'm just guessing just by what I think it weighs. But I reckon there's 40 grams there. So I've definitely got enough to knit another pair if I use contrast cuffs.
You've got enough?
Heels and toes.
Wow.
I'm sure I haven't. I'll do a slightly shorter leg, but there's
Will you
definitely...
be playing yarn chicken by the end?
Possibly, yeah.
Oh,
but
I want to watch this.
There's enough. There was enough there.
I can't wait to see this.
Well, I'll probably just keep it in stash because if for any reason these, you know, wear through, because Bryony's very rough on her socks. She's terribly rough on her socks. I don't know what she does, that girl, honestly. But, you know, she wears them and loves them, and that's all that matters. So I'm going to keep this in stash because if the worst comes to the worst and she wears through these terribly, then I can always make another pair, which is brilliant. So I really, really love knitting these, and they're so fun. And she can have these now when she comes home from school today, so that will please her. Another pair of Harry Potter socks.
Can I have a blocker?
Yes.
A blocker. Which perhaps gives you a little clue as to the fact that I am totally cheating.
Yes.
But I finished one bootstrap sock. And there it is. Now, it's the first time I've ever done the Balbriggan heel. And it was an education because I learnt lots. I learnt lots about seaming because you have to seam under here. And I, for the first time ever, was rejoining yarn. I've added yarn in, obviously, on sweater projects and...
But you've never done like a contrast heel or anything?
No. Well, I have socks in the book which have contrast heels. Yes. Which is why, you know, that's a great thing because it's taking me down all sorts of different paths. So, you know, like I've said so many times, by the end of the year, I'm going to know what I love and what I don't love. But back to the bootstrap. Look, that's not the shape of your heel, is it?
It's a bit weird.
It looks, and I said this yesterday, it looks, you see, that looks like a dog. Look, if you put
it does
an
look
eye,
a bit like a dog, you're right.
if you put an eye up there, you know, it's just a bit odd. And I've looked and looked, and you know, maybe that's why they say it hugs your arches.
Yeah.
Look here.
Yeah, and I do.
Because,
I have an incredibly high arch.
So who knows? You know, when you've worn it,
maybe
you may think.
I did try it on, and it was just a little bit strange. But yeah, maybe when I've worn it a bit.
So you can see there why they say it hugs your arches, and maybe it's been designed that way. Specifically, and you know, that's the reason why people say, oh yeah, it's a more secure heel because that cups. But if there's, you see, I found some people online saying that they could feel this underneath. If you've got really sensitive feet, there's a chance you're going to feel that, and that might be just slightly annoying. But I want to know why this was designed this way. Not obviously by Lara, because Lara has taken, the Balbriggan heel and put it into, and I love that. I love this bit. I didn't like this bit, and that's not the design, because it's just it's just a plain sock.
You were just.
I'm not into knitting plain socks.
You've still got biscuit on your mouth. Sorry.
I'm really not into knitting plain socks. So that bit I loved, and it's not like you could continue that bit down the sock.
No, I was just thinking that you can't, can you? Because that's the whole point.
Unless you swept it round.
Yeah, but then you'd have that going off in that direction, and then another one. It'd look a bit odd.
Crazy. It would look bonkers. So I've done the first one, and I do need to get on and do the next one, because I fear that if I don't, that I never will. Yeah. But I'm going to finish them.
His 1x1 rib is very neat, I thought. Don't you think it looks really neat? His 1x1. Because 1x1 can look a bit scrappy sometimes, but very neat. Good job with that.
Thank you.
It's just a bit strange. I mean, if you pull it, when it's blocked,
maybe it'll.
You see, that does fit more into the sort of shape of a foot, but it's quite. It's a little bit bulky, I find.
What I did see, and what I never even considered, was if you were knitting with opal.
Yeah.
The pattern that it would create.
Right.
And I saw some, the sort of opal type yarns. I'm sorry, my terminology is so awful.
I've only knit a billion pairs.
Yeah, I know, but the colourways that it creates, it looks gorgeous.
Oh, right.
Because of the way you're creating this heel and you finish it off, breaking the yarn and then carrying on, it looks like a work of art.
Right.
So what type of colourway is that? An opal colourway?
Well, all opal yarns, I've got one here, I'll show you in a minute, they're kind of self-patterning.
Right. So a self-patterning colourway, it's going to create shapes which you will have never seen before. Because I certainly had never seen. It was making like crowns.
Oh, right.
And it really did look good. It was the type of thing that it made me wish that I'd knit it in a yarn like that, because that then might make me like the heel a bit more.
Right. Maybe I should knit it, because I could knit it in that yarn, I've just thought, actually.
Yeah, you could give it a go. I mean, the thing is, though, I don't think that you should have to knit a heel flap in a particular colourway to justify knitting that heel flap, because surely it's about how it fits and how it feels, not about how it looks, because at the end of the day, that's going to be stuck.
It's got to fit well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
If it doesn't fit well, you're not going to wear it, and then there's no point knitting it.
And it's all right saying, it looks beautiful when you look at it like that, but it's going to spend its whole life
underneath the bottom of your foot. No one's ever going to see it. That's the thing, isn't it? So surely the fit is the most important. Yeah, I think so. It's about the fit,
and it's about the feel. That is the end of What's Off Your Needles. Now, it's time for us to do the last before our Christmas special of Desert Island Discs. Now, many of you may have twigged that I'd undershot just slightly, because it's 10 songs that we can take on a desert island with us. And it was particularly interesting in this month's Knitability with Erica Luda, because I've never had such a large bit of writing all about the songs that she was going to take. She really struggled. She struggled to pick.
It is hard. I think it's hard.
Well, it's harder for the interviewees in Knitability, because they only get to take 2 songs.
Right.
We're getting to take 10 songs. So this episode, we're doing the songs from the 2010s. So that's the decade that we're in right now. But when we've picked our songs of the 2010s, we'll still have 2 left. But those 2 songs will be Christmas songs. And rather than do another episode next time, which would be in October, and talk about Christmas songs, it's a bit early to be talking about Christmas songs in October. Better to be talking about Christmas songs right in the middle of Christmas. So we'll be bringing it back for our Christmas special, where we will do our 2 favourite Christmas songs. But today, we will bottom out the tunes of our years. Plus, we get to pick the book that we're taking too, because we get 10 songs in 1 book. So, would you like to kick us off, Kay, with your first song of the 2010s?
No, you would think this would be easy, because it's songs that you're listening to currently, isn't it?
It's harder.
I think it's harder.
It is.
I have no memory for songs that I listen to. This is my problem. I never do I? No. I'm like, what's that song? I'm always saying to that, and Dan's like, it's this. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But there is a particular singer that I've listened to a lot in the past few years, and I just think he is fabulous, and he's got the most amazing voice.
Yes.
He's got the most amazing voice.
He does. I quite often will be caught listening to my playlist of this person and knitting.
And he's done a bit of acting as well, hasn't he? We've seen him in
a film. I'm aware of him in one film.
Yeah.
And he was all right.
Yeah, it was okay. He was all right.
Actually, it's interesting you bring that up, and I'll tell you why in a minute.
But his voice just transports me to a different place, and I just think, oh my gosh, what must it be like? And I say this so many times. What must it be like to be able to sing?
Well, I'll tell you. No,
you can sing, so you can tell me. But, I think it just must be so fabulous to be able to sing like that. And I would just love to be able to sing. But
you can.
Well,
everybody can.
Everybody can sing, of course. But to be able to sing confidently and know that it sounds good, that's an entirely different thing altogether.
Yeah.
I think. But the person I'm talking about is Josh Groban. Well, I'm sure you all have heard of Josh Groban. He's, oh my goodness. I just think he's amazing.
Great. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And there's 2 songs in particular, and I'm still now, as I'm talking, I'm not sure which one I'm going to choose. But of course, there's You Raise Me Up. I just think it's the most emotional, fantastic song. It's just amazing. But then there's another one that he does called Hidden Away, and I absolutely love that one. And I just don't know how I would choose between those 2.
It's a really clever song, It's Hidden Away, because it's written in C. It's written in C major.
Right.
So it just makes it a really easy song to sit down and play the piano and sing.
Right.
Which is cool. It's clever because it's a brilliant song. Now, the lyrics are great, the tune is lovely, the accompaniments bang on, and it's in C as well, so you don't have to mess around with all the sharps and flats.
Right. That means nothing, absolutely nothing to me.
From a musician's point of view, it's a cool song to play.
Oh, I don't know which to choose. I don't know which to choose.
Well, you have to pick one, I'm afraid.
You Raise Me Up.
Oh, gosh.
But...
Look, that's what you picked,
right,
so
okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so disappointed. I'm going to the other side of the island when she listens to that one.
Up until a minute ago, I was going to choose Hidden Away, and then you said that about it not being as complex.
Oh, no.
No, I'm changing my mind.
Are you sure?
Yes. Because...
It needs to be your choice here.
Well, I thought all along that I was going to choose this, and then it was only at the last minute when you said that turned me the other way. So, no, I'm going to go with Hidden Away.
Good. That's an excellent choice.
Go listen to it. If you've not listened to it, go listen to it.
It's exceptional.
Fabulous.
And I would second, third, fourth, and fifth that. He's done so many cool songs. There's one called Higher Window that's immense. He also sang a song from Chess called Anthem, which he was in Chess actually, and that's brilliant. That gives me shivers just saying the words, because that song is amazing.
I need to go listen to him a bit now this afternoon, I think.
And he did a song called The Bells of New York, which is just lovely. And, the list goes...
Has he done any Christmas songs?
Oh, he will have done. I'm sure he will have done. I don't know,
Can you
actually.
imagine if he did a Christmas album?
Well, it depends, because
That would be
sometimes
fantastic,
Christmas
wouldn't it?
albums can be a real cheese fest.
I know, but there's Seth MacFarlane, who we love.
Yes, we absolutely do love.
Oh, shush.
No, it's fine, because it's not Christmas yet.
Oh, right.
So it's cool. And we have 2 more songs after these 2 to add our Christmas songs. So yeah, you can talk all you like. So your first song of the 2010s is Hidden Away.
Josh Groban.
By Josh Groban.
Hidden Away.
I love it. Right. My first song in the 2010s. Absolutely, this is the hardest thing that we've had to do, because you can look back on decades and you can pinpoint much more easily what the songs are of that decade. When you're sat in the middle of that decade, or, well, getting towards the end of it, it's difficult to pinpoint. It's only in the next decade when we'll look back and go, that was the song. But I heard something about a year and a half ago, and I know that I'll listen to it forever, because it's cool. Music should do amazing things to you. The best songs give you that it's your blood starts rushing fast, through your brain, and it gives you that tingly feeling. Those are the best songs, and you can get that tingly feeling whether it be slow, fast, whatever, because it has an effect. And that's why music's so amazing, isn't it? Picking the right songs for a playlist is so difficult, because sometimes you think that a song gives you that feeling when it actually doesn't. And are you telling me that both those songs give you that tingly feeling?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, that's even better.
Yeah.
So you really could have picked either.
I could.
So, what is my first song, The 20 Tones? Well, it was sung by a guy called Jacob Collier. And Jacob Collier is a young guy. He's probably only 20 or 21 even now. And he was found by Quincy Jones. And Quincy Jones now his company produces his albums. And he's like super uber talented. His parents were musicians.
Right.
And he was just immersed in it. And he is a really individual performer because he uses lots of technology. Now, I'm not into that. So I haven't listened to his own specific stuff. What I heard him singing was a Michael Jackson song.
Oh, brilliant.
I heard him singing a Michael Jackson song in a tribute to Quincy Jones, which was done at the Albert Hall. And I think it was done actually last year. And the song, you might not even remember it.
I remember that you played me this.
Right.
All that you've just said just made me think I
Well,
might have.
the song is Human Nature.
Right.
Which wasn't one of Michael Jackson's biggest hits. I mean, it's cool, it's okay. I think he did sing it actually at that famous NFL Super Bowl that he performed at. I think. I can't remember. But the song is Human Nature, sung by Jacob Collier, arranged by a guy called Jules Buckley, and performed with an orchestra called the Metropole Orkest from the Netherlands. So you've got a full orchestra, plus you've got like a pop element as well. The song is Human Nature, and that's the first song I heard this decade, and it was only last year, that gave me that tingly feeling that you're talking about there. So my first choice is, and I will of course I will remember to put these in the thread in Ravelry, so you can go and have a look at these. Now, I do know, and thank you for those people who tell me, sadly, copyright is different for different countries. So sometimes I'll put something in there and you won't be able to see it. But if I put the title in as well, if the video that I put doesn't work for you, just search on that title and whatever country you're in, you should be able to find it. What else are you putting on your list?
Well, the other thing I'm putting on my list, and again, I've still not fully decided on which of the two it's not really a song, pieces of music. They're both by someone who I've been listening to a real lot actually, very recently, but...
That was quality English.
A real lot. That was terrible. Nathan, if you're watching, that was shocking,
I'm going to apologise for picking up on that, because I shouldn't do.
No, you shouldn't
So
do.
I apologise.
Yes.
But I do think it was quite
funny.
funny.
But that was awful English.
It was quite funny, a real lot.
I think it's because sometimes your brain goes ahead, doesn't it?
I've been listening to this a real lot.
A real lot. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, dear. But I have been listening to this particular person an awful lot. Did that sound better?
That sounded great.
And I'm not really a lover of classical music. Don't really listen to classical music at all. However, no, I know you're shaking your head. I think this composer is like the modern day...
Well, he is.
Yeah.
So you just spoke twaddle because you do.
No, when I say classical music, I mean Bach and Rachmaninoff and...
Don't let society push onto you the views which you think...
No.
Which is
I think this composer, is the best composer I have ever heard.
Yeah.
By a million miles.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking away anything from the older composers, because in their day, I think they were the superstars of their day, weren't they?
Honestly, right, I could take you on a journey, an audio journey, where I could link all those composers you've just said to this guy.
Right.
And that would give you a newfound...
Well, I'm sure.
...enjoyment. It's just understanding what led to what.
Yeah.
Yeah, but go on, Kim.
And I think a little bit we take this person for granted, because, we've all grown up with this person's music, one way or another. I think we can all say that we've grown up with something that this man has composed. And I just think he's fantastic, and is an old man now, and that always scares me, and you're just thinking, please go on forever. Yeah. But of course, it's the great John Williams. Dan, you put me together like a playlist recently, didn't you? Because I wanted something to listen to when I was like dying yarn and working that would just ease my brain. My brain has been very full lately, and I've really struggled to switch it off. And I just needed something that would just helped me, even if it was only for half an hour, just to ease, what was going on in my brain. So you put me together this playlist, and I put this playlist on, and it was just the most fantastic thing. And I must have listened to it 10 times in a day. I just had it on a loop, and I was just listening to all these pieces of music. And, they're all connected, obviously, to films that you will remember him in. Not all of them, actually. I didn't recognise some of them.
Yeah.
But, there's 2 in particular, and everybody will know them. But actually, do you know what? When you just listen to it as a piece of music and try and not kind of think of you sat watching that film, because sometimes when you're watching the film, the music just kind of washes over your head, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
And it just becomes this background.
Yeah.
When you actually just sit and focus and listen to the music, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's absolutely unbelievable. And because I was dying yarn and I didn't have anything else to focus on, I was just letting this music absorb into my brain. And it literally was bringing me to tears, some of the pieces of music.
Yeah.
Because, I'm getting emotional now just thinking about it, because it's just so fantastic. So there's 2.
You've got to pick one.
I know. Well, the 2 that I narrowed it down to are the theme from Superman and the theme from Jurassic Park.
Both very good.
And both of these, just, I just have to hear the first few chords and I'm gone. I'm like, they're just so fantastic. Superman.
Yes. I absolutely concur.
The only reason I'm saying Superman is because Christopher Reeve...
Yeah. So now you are thinking, you're doing exactly what you told everyone not to do.
No, I am, but that's the only thing that pips it, really, between those 2. The fact that Superman is in that one, and I just absolutely love and adore.
It's a better piece of music.
Christopher Reeve, and Dan knows that, and accepts it.
It's a better piece of music.
Is it?
Yes,
right,
absolutely,
okay.
absolutely. I mean,
it's an amazing
really
piece
good.
of music. Go and listen to the theme from Superman, because
Kate's
honestly,
right in what she said. When you're watching the film, the visuals take away from the audio. Go and listen to, and you can do it. You can do it for free, because you will find it on YouTube. And the thing to do is to either put on headphones or turn it up a little bit, shut your eyes, and listen to it. It's mind-blowing stuff.
It is. Absolutely unbelievable.
He's a genius.
He is a genius.
The things he can do.
He is an absolute genius. And I think it'll be a very, very sad day, which we won't talk about when that happens. But
yeah, because it's tricky. There's not...
Who else is there? Who else is there?
Well, you see,
him?
someone would say
Hans Zimmer.
Someone would say Hans Zimmer, but all I would say to you is go away and listen to Superman, and then listen to one of the tracks from the new Superman, which was done by Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's just no comparison.
And I have listened to some of those, because
they're very good.
You put a couple of those on that compilation.
They're very good.
They are very good, but they're not a patch. They're not a patch.
It's not. I don't think you'll be talking about that in the way that you're talking about John Williams in 20, 30 years.
People will be talking about John Williams forever.
Ennio Morricone is really good.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure you'll have seen The Mission, and the music from that is absolutely classic. But Mark Shaman is very good. He was Harry Connick Jr.'s musical director for a long time. George Fenton did the music for Memphis Belle. I think he's not been quite so popular, which is such a shame. But listen to the music of Memphis Belle, that's really, really good. Yeah. But there's no one who comes close to John Williams. So Kay's next choice.
And I also love the theme, what's it called, the one in Jaws, where they're hunting...
Out to Sea, is it?
I think so. It's the one where
Or the Great Shark Chase.
It might be that. That is fabulous.
Well, I think
that's
actually
also on my
that's a segue one into the other, Out to Sea, the Great Shark Chase. Yeah.
That's another one that's fantastic.
Really cool. What is my final choice? Would you believe, because we did not know this, is also John Williams.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
And I can't decide between 2 either. And I like John Williams for all the same reasons Kay does. I like John Williams because he composed music to Star Wars, and you know how much that's been a part of my life. And what is so stunning about John Williams is, think of any great film that you've seen in the last 30 or 40 years, and he has always done the music for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that says so much, doesn't it?
It's like on the Star Wars where he didn't do the music.
Oh,
it was just so lacking for that. It was unbelievable, and it's the first thing I noticed when we watched that.
Yeah. Rogue One.
Yeah. It was
Disaster.
really lacking for that.
So, 2 for me. And those two are the prologue from JFK,
Wow.
where it's the guy on the trumpet and then the drums come in, and it's when Martin Sheen is doing the voiceover when JFK's arriving at
I love that film.
Dallas. Yeah, it's a great film. So I didn't even know until the last year that he did the music for that.
Wow.
I mean, I can't believe it.
I knew that either.
Yeah, he did the music for JFK.
Gosh.
I really love that. But I think I would have to put in Rey's theme from The Force Awakens.
Oh, it's brilliant.
And the reason why I've got to put that in is because I think it was when that started in The Force Awakens that that's what alerted me to the fact that he'd written another classic soundtrack.
Yeah,
I knew he'd done the music, of course. He'd had the Star Wars theme at the start. You're expecting all that.
It's a really emotional thing, and I was really emotional as well watching it, and we'll be the same, I'm sure, this year.
You then hit Rey's theme, and that comes in, and you just know he's done it again. He's done another corker. The first thing I did when I came home was buy the album because it's just brilliant, and I listened to that before I go running. But there were so many that I could have put in. I mean, it's really tricky. You know, so many other things other than John Williams. There's a Daft Punk track called Giorgio by Moroder, which I really, really love. And you wouldn't think that I would love something like that. I don't like Daft Punk at all. But that particular track I absolutely love. And, you know, the list goes on. We spoke about Mika.
We did. We love Mika.
We really like Mika, you know, and
Yeah.
you could put in Grace Kelly,
Yeah.
the first one, because I remember we were in the car on the way home and we heard that song,
Yeah.
and we were like, oh my goodness, it's Freddie Mercury.
Brilliant, yeah. Mika's fantastic.
And then you hear that it's Mika, and you know, so many of his tracks are so great, but I think that is a good reflection. So I'm really excited about this because
This is going to be the best playlist in the world.
well, do you remember? Yeah.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I do. Do you remember how? Who was the guy who used to go, "Greetings, pop pickers"?
Oh.
I can't remember his name. But, and I think in America, I think the guy in America was the guy who did the voice for Scooby Doo.
Right.
I can't remember
Everybody's
his name.
shouting the pop pickers thing to us.
But where we count down. Now, sadly, we can only count down 8 at the moment, but we're going to do it. So, are you ready?
Are you going to put the top of the Pops music on?
Well, we can't do that because of copyright, but we will have a jingle.
Okay.
And there is the jingle. Here we go. In 8, this is my list. The Long and Winding Road in at number 8. In at number 7 is Tight Fit with The Lion Sleeps Tonight. A new entry at number 6 is The Chicken
I can hear the top of the Pops music in my head.
by Jaco Pastorius. A non-mover at 5, it's Queen with Breakthrough. At number 4, it's In the Stone, and that is, of course, Earth, Wind and Fire. At 3, it's My Kind of Town by Frank Sinatra. At 2, it's Human Nature by Jacob Collier. And at number 1, it's Race Theme by John Williams. Do you want to do yours?
No,
Okay.
I feel too silly.
His case. At number 8, it's Angelo, and that is Brotherhood of Man.
Yeah.
At 7, it's Annie's Song, and that's John Denver. In at number 6, it's Say the Prayer by Duran Duran.
Yes.
At number 5, it's the great George Michael with Careless Whisper.
Oh, yes.
And non-mover at 4, it's Jamiroquai and Corner of the Earth.
Yeah.
At number 3, it's I'm Glad. Would you believe it? That was a shock to all of us. That's Jennifer Lopez.
Everybody laughed at me.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I can take it.
At 2, it's the amazing Josh Groban with Hidden Away.
Yeah.
And at number 1, of course, it's the wonderful John Williams with the Superman theme.
Oh, can you do? I want to listen to
Yes,
it.
that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Great, thank you.
So, we get to take one book.
Yeah.
What are you going to take?
It can, well,
It's really funny, we were talking about this the other day, and we weren't guessing, and Kay doesn't know what mine is, but I just went, well, it's either this one or this one, isn't it? And she went, yeah.
yeah, that's the two that I'd written down. And then he said, well, it's got to be this one, hasn't it?
Because that can be our manual.
There's a book that I spoke about before and that I talk about probably on a weekly basis
Yes.
for one reason or another.
Yes.
So it had to be this. And it's The Clan of the Cave Bear
Come on.
by Jean M. Auel. I've never known how to pronounce that. It's Auel. It's got to be that. I've read it countless times. Like, you know, I talk about it all the time. Something will be on the telly and I'll be like, Ayla did that. Or, you know, oh no, that's not right. Because in cavemen times, this is what they did. It's a whole education, this series of books. It really is. You know, and it was researched really thoroughly. So I'm sure it's as accurate as something can be, I guess, when it's that far in the past. It's an epic. And I've loved it, and I've loved it for years, and I've read it over and over and over, and every time I read it, every time I read it even, I still love it. So it's got to be that.
Nice.
Yes.
So what is my book? And of course we can use that book as that's the one I said that we could use as our guide, because you're always,
Yes, I can make fires,
Yes.
I can forage for food, I'll be able to find a water source, I'll be able to make a camp in a cave, I will be able to fashion clothes.
So what is my book? Well, it's between two, and I think I'm going to sway with the second. The two books are Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson. It's a really thick, long biography of Steve Jobs, and it's unbelievably uplifting and gives you loads of positivity, and it's just brilliant. So I really love that book, and I thought sat on a desert island when times are tough, which they inevitably will be, cut off from the rest of the world, you might need that. But then actually probably what you want more is you want entertainment and interest and excitement. So I think I'm going to have to go with Sinatra, the man behind the myth.
Wow.
Which is another really long biography, but I mean, that guy had the most exciting life ever.
Right.
From the mafia to politics to being in love with some of the most famous actresses of the 1960s, and
wow.
Ava Gardner and Mia Farrow, and
Gosh.
just absolutely brilliant story. So that is the book that I would take, Sinatra, the man behind the myth.
Excellent.
So that is the end of Desert Island Discs until our Christmas special, which will be out on the episode closest to Christmas, and that's where we will release and let you know what our final two tracks are, and they will be two Christmas songs, so that we can enjoy some Christmas tunes on our lovely
that's
desert
going to
island.
be so tricky, isn't it?
Well, not for me,
Oh, really?
but I know exactly what they are.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Absolutely no competition.
Really?
None at all.
Will you tell me?
No.
Oh.
It's time for the Endy Bits.
Endy Bits.
So first bit of Endy Bits while Kay collects her thoughts is I did a FOGG Along update on Pop on Sunday. So I just wanted to say to runners, because of course runners is open to everybody, and if you are a runner or a walker, please come and join us. We're halfway along our journey, but we've got to pick up the pace a little bit, otherwise we're not going to make it all the way around the world. We are currently in Hong Kong, so we're about halfway there, but we do need more people. And current runners, please keep the pace up, because we've got to keep pushing on. So we've currently covered runners 18,252 were in Hong Kong. Knitters, you are currently in Bangkok, and that's a patron-only knit along for the knitters.
Yeah.
So that's the FOGG Along update. So Toy Along we've mentioned, haven't we?
Toy Along we've mentioned starts
on the
1st of October.
With the wonderful Penhook and Needles ladies.
So get ready to be knitting all your cute little stuffies and toys, and yeah.
Cool. Bits and bobs.
I wanted to just quickly talk just a bit about the bits and bobs. My blanket pattern, which, thank you to everybody who's purchased it and is knitting it. And there is a thread on Ravelry, as I said before. Oh, it's so squishy. There is a thread on Ravelry. It just says Bits and Bobs Chatter Thread. If you want to post pictures of your in progress, your yarn, what thoughts you've got on, how you're going to knit yours, ask me questions, anything like that at all. And I will randomly draw prizes from that thread. But something that a couple of people have asked me that actually only dawned on me that I don't know that I've ever said about the blanket, the second time somebody asked me, is that there's no purling with this blanket. It's knit in fisherman's rib, I will say, but it's maybe not as you might have knit fisherman's rib before. So there's no purling at all, and the reason I designed it that way is because I wanted this to be a really accessible project, and I know that a lot of people don't care for purling. So I thought, well, let's just see if I can do it without having to purl. So that's what I did, and there's no purling at all. So that's why before, when I've said it's a very relaxed and very meditative knit, I think it's because there's no
shifting your yarn around.
Yeah. It is, and and I was chatting to a friend yesterday, and she said, why don't you, I was just saying about stuff that was been going on in my head, and she says, why don't you cast on another Bits and Bobs, because, you really love that, and she's knit one, and she's knitting her second one now, so I think that's a brilliant idea, and that's definitely what I should do. But I think I'm maybe going to save a cast on of a Bits and Bobs because I've ordered the Opal Advent Calendar. I said I wasn't going to, but then, do you know what? Yesterday I just thought, you know what? I'm going to treat myself. So I did. So I think I might cast on a Bits and Bobs using my Opal Advent Calendar, which will be super fun. But yeah, I just wanted to say, no purling. So
you've invented a new way of doing it.
I don't know whether I have or not, to be honest. But I just tried lots of things and this worked. And I thought, well, that's fine. I'm going to do that. So yeah.
That's the point of being a designer at the end of the day, isn't it?
I guess it is, yeah. I swatched. I should show you. I mean, I showed the patrons on some sort of knit along videos that I did, how many swatches I'd done. And
it was the behind the scenes, Bits and Bobs behind the scenes.
Yeah, and Bryony's got all now these teeny tiny little blankets for all of her toys. Because when I was doing it, like the next day I say, oh, I've got another one. She's like, another one, mummy? Right, okay, I'll find you another toy that needs a blanket. So there was a lot of swatching with that.
Jane Austen Cal?
Jane Austen Cal finishes at the end of this month.
So
30 days half September.
April, June,
30
November.
days. So it finishes on a Saturday. So I will close the thread on the 1st of October. And then we will draw for prizes in the next episode. So that's exciting. So if you're in the middle of knitting a Jane Austen themed project, then get knitting to finish it. You've got another, good week to get it finished and entered into that thread.
And of course, you mentioned the informal colour work knit along that you're doing.
Yeah.
And for the patrons who requested some colour work tutorials, Kay will be doing some and they will be out soon.
Yeah.
Yes. Purchases.
I've just got one thing actually.
Excellent.
Well, I purchased the Dobby bag. That was one of them that I spoke about already. So don't forget to go and enter into that thread to win the Dobby bag. Very excited. But I did just purchase one other thing. And I suddenly had an urge that I wanted to knit sort of Halloweenish socks. And I looked through my stash and I didn't really have anything sort of Halloweenish. So when I was ordering the needles for the hat, I order a lot of my needles from Woolstack and they do loads of opal. So I thought I'll have a little look. And I saw this one and it's a 6-ply, so it's like a sport weight. And I just thought that looked very autumny and Halloween, don't you think? And there's like a little black cat on it, which made me think of Halloween as well. So, hopefully I'll get round to casting these on because it does knit up really pretty. And it's a sport weight, so they would knit up really quick. It's from the Cabaret range and it's 9230 Vorspiel. I don't know what that means. Anybody who speaks German, if you can tell me, that would be lovely. Vorspiel, and I'm probably saying that totally wrong. I just thought those colours were lovely. So that's my only purchase.
Beautiful.
Really.
So we will see you in 2 weeks for episode 84, and it will be momentous because we're getting back to what we do best, and that is exploring some Roman history. So we can't wait. And finally, I will get back my co-presenter because in Scotland it was me. Thanks to...
Oh, I wondered what you meant there.
Well, no. The New Adventure of the Bakery Bears is presented by Kay Jones and Dan Jones. Not Dan Jones doing 100 voiceovers. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in 2 weeks for episode 84. Yeah, it is 84, because this one's 83.
Is it 83 now?
Yes, and then episode 85 is when the new things start appearing. Yes, lots of new exciting things. Okay, yes, we will be trying some stuff.
Right.
But not in the section which is replacing Biscuit Banter.
Right.
Because that is...
Oh, right.
Which is rather fun.
Yes.
Yes.
Brilliant.
We had a moment of absolute genius in coming up with a brand new segment for you, which is going to create lots of interesting debates.
It will.
So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for more. Bye.
Bye.
Who's it sitting and knitting? It's Dan and Kay, the bakery bears. Enthusiasm's not quitting for Dan and Kay, the bakery bears. They'll take you to fabulous places of which they're favorites they'll share. You better buy a pattern and knit yourself a bakery bear. You'll find yourself in a castle while watching the bakery bears. It never feels like a hassle to sit and watch the bakery bears. What's on your shelf or what's in